Hello, I Katan Patel. I'm going to present my work on the proposed project India International Convention Center, also known as IICC, studied during the studio Project Procurement Management, guided by Professor Reshma Sai and Mr. Maulik Shah, and teaching associate Ms. Meher Kalra. So the flow of contents is as listed. First, we will go through studio details. Then comes the case study. Then comes the proposed project, and then comes the project procurement management, which is further divided into subtopics. So project procurement denotes the necessity to secure services to implement the project, which requires planning, defining requirements, bidding, evaluating, selecting, awarding the contract, and lastly, managing it, which necessitates preparation and a specialized meticulous design capable of ensuring the best potential outcomes. So the objectives of the studio are as listed. So we will able to study the methods and mode of procurement for public works, able to study procurement strategies for a proposed project, able to recognize the suitable procurement route for the proposed project, able to identify the process suitable for proposed project, able to study and prepare bid documents for proposed project, and able to analyze and conclude on go no go assessment. So the outcomes of the studio were learning public procurement works and type of bidding system, learning context and reasons underlying behind the procurement procedure, and value of actions. So methodology and deliverables are divided on weekly basis. So in week one, the task assigned was understanding the project and formulation of project requirements. In week two, bid team members planning was assigned. In week three, market survey for project participants. In week four, exploring methods of bidding and bidding system. Expert session 1 was conducted by Mr. Snehal Shah, and in week 5, drafting of instruction to bidders was carried out. And in expert session 2, Mr. Suren Vakil gave an brief discussion on the consultancy. So in week 6, bid evaluation criteria were studied, and in week 7 and 8 combined, general condition of contracts were studied. Then came the midterm jury, and in week 9, technical specification and bid drawings were studied. Then express session 3 conducted by Mr. Chintan Desai on the topic arbitration, and in week 10, proposing of notice inviting 10 bids for the project was studied. And then express session 4 was conducted by Mr. Udayan Vyas. So in week 11, contractors bidding toolkit was studied. In week 12, bid no bid decision was studied. In week 13, pre-bid queries and pre-bid meeting was studied. In week 14, e-procurement and for Gujarat, also known as N-Procure, was studied. And in week 15, bid opening, evaluation, and finalization of successful bidders was studied. And in week 16, end-term jury was conducted. The study of similar projects. Apart from India International Convention Center, IICC, the 5 projects were studied. So first comes the Metairs Park with Convention Center in Assam. Client was Public Works Building. Contractor awarded or the selected contractor was Manoj Talukdar. Nature of contract was item rate contract. Phase was single phase. Contractor scope of work was to construct the convention center building. Then the estimated amount was 10 crore rupees. So accordingly, all the convention center was studied, keeping in mind the same parameters of client, contractor, nature of contract, phase, contractor, scope of work, and estimated amount. So Bahrain International Exhibition and Convention Center located in Bahrain was studied. International Convention Center complex in Kerala was studied. Construction of Convention Center at Guwahati University was studied, and Convention Center cum sports facilities at Khilawat was studied. And all the parameters are listed respectively. So why India International Convention Center? So the IICC is envisioned as a world-class transit-oriented mixed-use district, providing one of the largest facility of its kind in Asia and India. So basically, Convention Center is a rectangular shape in plan and provides a coverage of 60,000 square meter, and it reaches up to the height of 43.5 meters, and the project cost is around 2859 crores. Once completed, Convention Center will have a capacity of 11,000 people, which is the largest capacity of people in India for a convention center. And also the G20 summit of the year 2023 will be held here. So family tree is listed on the left, with the superior authority, the supremacy is Government of India. Below it comes the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Below it comes the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Then comes the DMICDC, and then the further tasks were assigned to the authorities, which is termed as recruited projecting by Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor for Development of Corporation for IICC. So Larsen Toubro was awarded the EPC contract, and IDOM and CP Kukreja were the primary engineering and architect consultant. ACOM India Private Limited and ACOM Asia Company Limited were the program manager. DMICDC, which is Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor Development Corporation, were the knowledge partner for the project. DMRC is conducting underground or the tunneling works for the underground metro, which is located below the exhibition 3. Then comes the National Council for Cement and Building Materials, which is responsible for third party quality assurance and audit. The operator awarded were international companies. So eSync Networks Company and Kinexin Convention Management formed a consortium for operating the IICC. Apart from L&T, major construction firms such as Shapoorji Pallonji, Tata Project, Reliance Infrastructure, China Construction, Samsung Construction, and Nagarjuna Construction Company had also bid for the project. So the work package is divided as follows. The one highlighted in red is the phase 1, which includes Convention Center, Exhibition 1, Exhibition 2, and Exhibition 3. And the rest of the components which are highlighted in yellow, blue, and green are to be carried out in phase 2. So the mentioned photos are of November 2020. So basically the literature review studied during the whole studio course were the FIDIC Silver Book. Then comes the World Bank Procurement of Works. Then comes NITI Aayog. Then comes Central Vigilance Commission Guidelines, which is also known as CVC Guidelines. Manual for Procurement of Works by Ministry of Finance. Then comes for specification, Central Public Works Department specifications. For schedule of rates comes the Delhi schedule of rates, and then schedule of rates for building section for Ahmedabad district. Also, some of the websites of Make in India were referred. Some of the websites include Make in India, JICA, CPWD, R&B, Department Gujarat. All these websites were referred, and their following documents were also referred. So overview of exercises undertaken during the studio course was study of similar projects, understanding the IICC. Then comes the study and proposing of bid team for client. Then comes the study and proposing of procurement route and evaluation parameters for contractor and consultant respectively. Then comes proposing the listed bid documents for IICC, which are notice inviting tenders, ITB, instruction to bidders, price bid format, and EPC agreement, which is also known as general condition of contract. Then comes the bid data forms, and last comes the list of drawings. So study of contracting firms and their award ones were also the exercise included, and then proposing go-no-go checklist, then proposing bid capture board, then proposing pre-bid clarification format, and study of e-portal for uploading e-bid were also conducted as exercises. Then last was the proposing evaluation methods for the evaluation of bidders. So bid team proposed, studied and proposed by me for client. So basically bid team helps the client put up a detailed project specific, self-explanatory, and understandable bid. So composition of bid team is a bid manager, proposal writer, technical team, consultants, bid coordinator, knowledge base manager, legal advisor, and proofreader. So for the IICC project, the client must procure the following list of consultants to elaborate and enhance the bid. So the ones highlighted in yellow are the crucial experts whose inputs are necessary, as the convention center requires interior designing, landscape consulting, green building consulting, as the IICC is to be desired of platinum rating by LEED. Then comes the lighting consultant, then comes the facade consultant, and then comes the acoustic consultant. So reason for including a facade consultant was the whole convention center periphery is to be covered with facade, which is LED screen. So yes, that is the basic reason for including all these consultants. Rest of the consultants are included in the report. So procurement process. So type of contracts are the type of contracts is defined on the basis of value for money with due regard to the nature of work, and also they are used for linking payments to performance of contract, each having different risk and mitigation measures. So basically the type of contracts are engineering, procurement and construction, also known as EPC, lump sum, item rate, percentage rate, public private partnership. So according to Ministry of Finance, engineering, procurement and construction is also known as design and build contract. So in this contract, the obligation regarding examination, plan furthermore and construction is transferred to the contractor on basis of a lump sum price determined through competitive bidding. So also Niti Aayog has recommended that wherever suitable, item rate can be replaced by EPC contracts. So why EPC contract for IICC? So due to the convention center being the largest and one of its kind in India and Asia, the project being of a such complex nature need to have a flexible type of contract. So the basically the EPC have the following benefits as listed, which is minimize the contract minimizes client's risk. Then also the procuring entity just needs to specify the core requirements of the design and construction of the project, while the contractor have enough room left to add value by using the best practices to achieve the quality, durability, reliability, maintainability, and safety as specified, along with the efficiency and economy. Also, the peace of mind the owner gets when it hands over the full responsibility of the project to only one contractor. It is much easier for the owner to manage and communicate with only one contractor. So the procurement process list of bid documents were first was notice inviting tender, then comes the RFQ, which is request for qualification, also known as request for proposal, RFP. Then comes the EPC agreement, general condition of contracts. Then comes the technical schedules, which includes the schedule of milestones, schedule of labor laws and everything. Then comes the technical drawings, which gives the master plan and all other drawings attached with the tender. So the one in-depth topic presented in this PowerPoint is qualification criteria. So the qualification criteria are mentioned in request for qualification, under which the request for qualification is also subdivided into instruction to bidders, criteria for evaluation, fraud and corrupt practices, pre-bid conference, miscellaneous and appendices, and the qualification criteria are included in ITB, which is instruction to bidders. So this is the bidding schedule for IICC. So basically qualification criteria are used when opening of technical bids happen for screening the contractors and declaring the eligible one. So comparing and recommending the suitable qualification criteria for IICC. So technical capability, which is of similar works. The project cost is of rupees 2859 crores. So the tender document specifies at least 3 similar projects are to be done of rupees 1150 crore each. And for 2 projects, it has recommended 1725 crores each. And for one similar project, it has recommended 2300 crore each. So the CVC guidelines recommends the same amount, while the World Bank states that the value of completed contract should not be less than 80% of the estimated contract value, which is 2287.2 crores. So FIDIC Silver Book have not mentioned such ceiling limit. So the recommended clause out of this comparison was of the is as mentioned, that similar work shall mean exhibition and convention centers, in international airports, large commercial buildings, 5/4 star hotels, large institutional buildings, large industrial infrastructure projects with any reputed organization or department, including external and internal services in last 5 years. Also, the applicant shall provide evidence that it has successfully completed or substantially completed the project. So the CVC guidelines were adopted for the breakup of the similar projects value. So next comes the key production rates. So my tender, which is India International Convention Center tender, has not specified such clause. Also, the CVC guideline have also not specified. The World Bank guidelines have specified the key production rates, and that is considered as the recommended clause, as key production rates is a very crucial parameter to determine the amount of work to be carried out by the contractor. And the FIDIC Silver Book has also not specified. So recommended clause is the annual production rate for the key construction activities or activities in the proposed contract of works. For example, 1 million meter cube of rock placed in rockfill dams in 1 year. The rate should be a percentage of the estimated production rate of the key activity in the contract or works as needed to meet the expected construction schedule. So the World Bank suggests that the contractor should have filled about or above than 80% of the required key production rates. So financial capability, so average annual turnover. So tender clause, which is IICC tender. So it has specified that during the last 3 years, the contractor shall have average annual turnover of 860 crore rupees, which is same as the guidelines specified in CVC, which is Central Vigilance Commission guidelines. So CBC guidelines are adopted and recommended in the clause, while World Bank have not mentioned any ceiling limit. Also, the FIDIC Silver Book have not mentioned any ceiling limit. So 860 crore rupees for last 3 years is recommended in the clause. So financial capability also includes bid capacity. So bid capacity is suggested in all the three, which is FIDIC Silver Book, Central Vigilance Commission, and my tender document, IICC tender document, gives the multiplier of 2, while the World Bank provides the multiplier of 1.5, which is an obsolete formula as 1.5 is long discarded by the Indian guidelines. So then comes the profitability, that the bidder should have not suffered any loss for more than 1 year during the last 3 years, ending at the close of preceding final years. The bidder should submit attested copies of the auditor's report. So basically, CVC does not specify any such clause, while the World Bank has specified the clause, but it is not so specific, which is the applicant shall also demonstrate adequate sources of finance to meet the cash flow requirements on works currently in progress and for future contract commitments. So the recommended clause out of all the comparison is of the tender document itself, which is the bidder should have not suffered any financial loss for more than 1 year during the last 3 years. So the reason for recommending the clause is that the clause is more provides more clarification to the bidder. Also, the net worth comes under the financial capability, which the tender documents recommends of the bidder shall have a minimum net worth of rupees 715 crores at the close of the preceding final year. Any else document, which is CVC, the World Bank, and FIDIC, does not specify the ceiling limit. So the reason of providing net worth as a criteria for qualification is due to the reason that at start the contractor is not paid for the work he has carried out. So the net worth can show to the client that the contractor is capable of managing the cash flow by seeing his net worth. So for JV, the parameters are members of joint venture, then for technical criteria, technical capability, and then for financial capability, all the documents, which is my tender document, CVC guideline, FIDIC Silver Book, and World Bank procurement of works are compared, and the recommended clause are mentioned here, that the members of joint venture, number of members in joint venture shall not exceed 3, including the lead partner. For technical capability, the requirement of technical capability 1 and 2 mentioned before shall be met by any of the JV members. And while the financial capability by the lead member shall be satisfied up to 60%, at least 60%. And for financial capability of other JV members, it shall be up to at least 30% of the requirement financial capability. Also, additional clause is added by me, which is power of attorney. In case of joint venture formation with non-indigenous company, the lead partner must be the Indian company to promote the small Indian contractors, which can then compete at a national, international, or national level. So this is a clause which promotes the Indian contractors. So the additional qualification criteria were that these criteria are included because of which the it will enable the employer to have an insight into the understanding of bid and preparedness of the bidder towards the bid. So the responsiveness of the bidder is indicated by these qualification criteria. So the bidder must need to submit proposed overall project schedule showing all the details unit wise, write up on project planning, scheduling, monitoring and control system which is proposed, and progress measurement methodology with details such as weightage, milestones, etc. So organizational setup for planning, scheduling, monitoring and control at EPC contractors design office and site office are to be required, are asked. Then function-wise resource development schedule is also asked, which includes site manpower and construction equipment. Also, the project approach and execution methodology are also demanded. Then comes the software to be used for planning and material control. The certificates such of international standards are ISO 9001, which is quality standard, ISO 18001, which is safety and health standards, and ISO 14001, which is environmental standards are required. So basically, I have prepared or drafted a checklist for qualification criteria. So based on this checklist, the any of the client can draft his bid data forms. So this checklist will identify the significant parameters required for drafting data sheet for the qualification criteria. So the technical capacity or the technical criteria includes particular experience or similar works, which is further subdivided into that the name of work and its location. Then comes the name and contract details of the client. Then comes the cost of work on completion. Then comes the completion certificate or provisional certificate. These all are the sub criteria of particular experience. Then comes the strike rates or annual production rates, which is considered as a significant factor as said that the client have an idea that in the past have the contractor executed this much amount of work like excavation in past or not. So also technical criteria can be divided into personnel capabilities that the contractor shall provide the position and the name of the bidder, then name of the personnel he is appointing to the project, the year of work experience he is having, then year of similar work experience he is having, and also he needs to attach the personal personal's alternative in case of the personnel is going to be replaced or leaving the job. So this can be attached in personal capabilities. Then comes the equipment capabilities, which is requiring the equipment type, age and minimum number of required. These all are the checklist parameters, and the reasons are given why I need to keep these parameters in technical criteria. So basically this checklist is made after referring the checklist made before. The following data sheets are drafted and recommended. So technical capacity of the bidder. So let's take an example of L&T for IICC. So the L&T in detail of similar works can mention here that they have executed Swami Vivekananda International Convention Center in Mauritius, and they can further fulfill the details of the project. Then comes the Mahatma Mandir in Gandhinagar. So basically the similar works will require such inputs by the contractor. Then comes the personal capabilities that a project manager is appointed of the name of the person. Then comes the similar experience required and the general experience. So this data form is drafted as personnel capabilities, and for equipment capabilities, the name of the equipment, which is tower crane, or in case of concreting, that boom pressure, and the number of units they have recommended or they have planned according to their methodology, which can be anything, and according to that the rest is field. Then comes the annual rates, which the Employer contact address is mentioned here. Agreement number is mentioned here. The date, value, and year are mentioned here. And here the quantities executed by the contractor are listed. So basically, the W activity, X activity, Y, and Z are mentioned by the client, which are the key activities for the project. Like for India International Convention Center, lifting of steel structure is a crucial activity, and also concreting is also crucial activities, and excavation is also a crucial activity. So the client can ask the contractor to show the previous records that he has lifted 15,000 metric ton of the steel structure, or has excavated any amount of soil. So the client can have an idea of the capability of the contractor. Then comes the financial capability. So this financial capability can also be subdivided into profit or loss, bid capacity, average annual turnover, net worth, GST number, PAN number, income tax clearance certificate, and GST returns. So here are the reasons mentioned for the criteria to be kept. So basically, this is the form proposed for the financial requirements or financial details. So they can be filled as the contractor. Here he can quote that the profit and loss, the bank, the statements which are approved by the statutory authority can be placed here. So also litigation history is one of the important criteria. So here it can be further subdivided into eligibility of applicant regarding banks policy on fraud and corrupt practices, and acceptability of applicant's history on litigation or arbitration. So the reason is mentioned that the client will get the idea of the bidder, that has he or has he not involved in fraud or corrupt practices before the start of the new project. So this is the data for sheet proposed for the litigation history, that the first will be demanding the year, then comes the award for or against the applicant, then comes the name of client, then comes the cause of litigation, then comes the disputed amount. So the organization details are also necessary, that whether they are also further divided into subcriteria of quality policy, environmental policy, health and safety policy. So the reasons are stated here, as the contractor needs to be well aware of the quality policy, environmental policy, and health and safety practices that he is going to conduct on the site. So this is the data sheet proposed by me for the organization strength of the bidder. So basically here the contractor will attach or will state the certificates he has received for the following standards. So why qualification criteria are required? So the benefits of the qualification criteria are better quality of work. So because of the absence of the experience to back the evaluation of the scope of work, or to land the position at any expense, few contractors quote a low rate to such a level that the quality of the work then suffers. So to qualify contractors based on their technical and financial capabilities creates a greater likelihood of selecting a contractor of higher caliber, and quality of work will not suffer. So this is the main advantage of the qualification criteria, that the quality of work will not suffer, and also a higher caliber contractor is selected. Then comes the better professional integrity and trust between client and contractor. So the client has an opportunity to appraise the personalities of the contractor firm as well as the competence of the contractor, thus diminishing the chances of incompatible selection. So based on the qualification criteria mentioned by the client, which are technical and financial, so the client has the opportunity to appraise that criteria which the contractor has fulfilled. So the incompatibility between client and contractor is eradicated. So the last is the elimination of incompetent, inexperienced, and overextended bids. So basically the process of selecting contractor based on their technical and financial capabilities will encourage them to continuously improve their skills, quality, and strive for creativity and innovation. as their selection is based on. So thank you for your time.